Hey y'all, it's Lacey. Today I am coming on here with a book haul, and it's a pretty good size one, but this covers all the books that I've gotten from May through the end of June. So it's not anything that I've just gotten in the last week. This covers 2 months worth of book acquiring. So anyway, let's get started. It's about to come up a storm, so it's possible you might hear some thunder in the background. I don't know, because it's getting real windy and cloudy outside. So anyway, these books I got, there's thrift book orders, or thrift store, Goodwill, free libraries, and book outlets. So yeah, there's a lot of books here. So let's just get into it. The first one is Ravishing the Heiress by Sherry Thomas. I heard Angie at Literary Labors talk about this book a while back, and she talked about how much she loved it and how good it was. So when I saw a copy of it on Thrift Books, I thought I'd take a chance and see if I liked it as well. The next couple I got are Dean Koontz books. So I've got Twilight Eyes, Servants of Twilight, and Darkfall. This was the first Dean Koontz book that I ever read that really turned me on to him. And then these other ones are the ones that I read, not too long after that I really remember as being some of my favorites. So I wanted to get copies of those and reread them. And then the last book I got through Thrift Books website was In Pieces by Sally Field. It's her autobiography. I don't like the way this cover feels. It feels really weird, and I don't know if that's just that's how it naturally feels, or if that's just from where it came from. I don't know. I might take that off when I'm reading it, whenever that is. Okay, moving on. So these books I got at a local thrift store in the next town. They've got a huge book selection, so I always come out of there with a good stack of books. So the first one I got there is Jane Austen, Mansfield Park. I know a lot of people are reading this in July for Jane Austen July. I doubt I'll get to it this month, but who knows. And believe it or not, I've never read any Jane Austen. It's never been required reading for me. It's not something that I have picked up, but I guess you should always read some at some point in your life. So when I saw that, I decided to grab it. Next one is A Confederacy of Dunces by John Kennedy Toole. This is one that's on the Great American Read list, so I grabbed that. I don't know anything about it. So next one I got was The Shack by, is that William Paul Young? That's another one that's on the Great American Read list, so I grabbed that one. Kind of know what this is about, and I know there's a movie, but I haven't seen that, and I've never read this before. Next one is an old book, The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, I believe. It's just an old book that just looked pretty cool, so I always like to grab old books when I can. It's got the picture in it. So I don't know if it says when this was published. It does not, but anyway, and I've never read that either. The next one is Daisy Faye and the Miracle Man by Fannie Flagg. This is one that I mentioned a while back. That is one of the books that I've given 5 stars to over the years. It's been a really long time since I've read this, but when I saw it, I just had to grab it because I do want to reread this at some point. So, and I do remember, like I said, I remember loving this so much and gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. And then the last one I got at the thrift store is Austenland by Shannon Hale. This is one that I had heard Tia from Tia and All the Books talk about, and how this is one of her favorite books, and she really loves it. And so when I saw a copy of that, I picked it up so I could check it out one day. This next stack is some that I got from some of the free libraries close to where I live. The first one is Nothing Daunted by Dorothy Wickenden. It's the unexpected education of two society girls in the West. So it sounds like it's about two women who go from the East, like, you know, where it's all, you know, society and, you know, they're maybe well-to-do, and then they go west to teach, I think. And yeah, it says teach school in the wilds of northwestern Colorado. So it's a nonfiction. It looks kind of interesting. So, you know, I picked it up in the free library, and I can always put it back if I don't like it. So this next one is Daphne du Maurier, Don't Look Now. I've never read any Daphne du Maurier. I've always wanted to read Rebecca. It's been on my radar for a long time, but I've just never gotten a copy of it. And when I saw her name, I grabbed it so I could, you know, maybe check it out. I don't know anything about this book, or what it's about, but just thought I'd pick it up just to have it. And it's kind of a old vintagey cover on it. And then the next one I got from the free library is Fleetwood, My Life and Adventures in Fleetwood Mac by Mick Fleetwood with Stephen Davis. So it's Mick Fleetwood, the drummer for Fleetwood Mac. I love Fleetwood Mac, and I love to read biographies about movie stars and musicians. So I grabbed that one. This next stack I just recently got at Goodwill when I went shopping like last weekend, 2 weekends ago. This is Where the Red Fern Grows by Wilson Rawls. I've never read this. I know it's super sad, I think, in the end, but it's on the Great American Read List, so picked it up. The next one is Charleston by John Jakes. He also wrote the North and South trilogy that I'd like to read one day, that I haven't yet, but when I saw this one, I thought I'd grab that so I could, you know, check that out. It sounds like it's kind of the same theming, you know, Civil War, family saga, drama kind of stuff. So, and then the next one that I saw at Goodwill, I was really surprised. I've seen a lot of people talk about this recently on BookTube, and I had it on my list at the library for the audiobook, but there's, you know, a long wait list for it. So when I saw the physical copy, I decided to pick it up, and that is The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. Yeah, so, you know, I've heard a lot of people talk about this. I know a little bit about it, but not much, so figured I'd check it out and see if I like it too. All right, this last group is my book outlet order. See, I'm gonna move the box up here to the table. Sorry. Okay, so this first one is, let me move that so it's not in camera, is Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. Again, another one on the Great American Read List. They've also turned this into a show, miniseries, something on Hulu. So I'd like to watch that, but I want to try and read the book first. But it's a pretty thick book, so I'm not sure when that's going to happen, but we'll see. This next one is huge, but you'll see why. It is Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. Everybody has ambitions of reading Les Miserables someday. Like, I'm one of them. And I feel like I have to have my own copy to do it because it's probably going to take me 5 years to read this book. So, yeah, saw it on Book Outlet for cheap and decided to pick it up. Who knows when I will get to this, but maybe one day. The next one is Boy's Life by Robert McCammon. I just recently read Swan Song, loved that, and wanted to check out more of his stuff. So this was one that had really caught my eye when I was looking around at his other books. So they had this one, and I snatched it up real quick before it disappeared. Next is Tales of the City by Armistead Maupin. Another one on the Great American Read List that I want to check out one day. The next one is The Devil of Nanking by Mo Hayder. I've heard several people who are really into horror books say that this is really scary. So fingers crossed, that's why I got it. I heard it was really scary, and I'm always looking for that next super scary book. And then this last one is The Dirt by Motley Crue. A couple months ago, we watched the Netflix movie that was based on that band. It was really good. The first half was good. The second half was I didn't like it. I felt like they rushed the second half of it. But it really made me want to read the book about the band, because there were some crazy things that they did, back in the day. So if you don't know who Motley Crue is, they were a band back in the 80s, super party, like rock music, and they lived a party lifestyle, like big time party lifestyle. So I'm interested to see what all is in this book. So that is it. That's all the books I've acquired over the last 2 months. If there's any of these that look interesting to you that you might want to do a buddy read, or any of these that you've read that you really like, let me know, and I'll maybe try and get to them sooner rather than later. So anyway, that's all I've got today. I hope you enjoyed watching this. I will see you next time in another video. Bye.